Yeah, I think there was obviously the kind of point before the game about just making sure we're really on the job and really making sure that we started strong. We've played 2 tough 90 minutes since Dundee last played last Saturday, so we were mindful of that. Also mindful that we had to get the crowd into the game today as well. And I thought, although we took the first 10-15 minutes, just kind of sussing them out a wee bit, in their low block, just looking to try and move the ball a bit quicker. We needed to try and hit a few more switches of play quicker. We needed to get some better combinations. But once we got in front, it was a brilliant goal for Lawrence. Like all good teams, I thought we never looked back from that, and I think that's a good sign for us. We stayed. We scored some good goals today. Delighted for big Landry to get off the mark. I thought he took his opportunity really well, led the line brilliantly with Lawrence, and it was good to get a last goal there with Thomas getting to finish off the game with a bit of polish. So we looked a wee bit leggy at times, but we were in charge of the game, which is the most important thing. We could have afforded ourselves just to see the last part of the game out. The work was done, and we looked pretty comfortable for the majority of the game today.
The fact we were able to make some changes to start line up and still have such a convincing win must be pleasing.
Yeah, listen, you look at it for the reasons I just said. We looked at potentially a few more changes, but I didn't want to look back and try with too many would maybe disrupt what we were doing as well. Plus, if you put too many in, it's not playing. The likelihood is they've not been used to playing 90 minutes, such as this team selection's been. So we made one in defence, one in midfield, one in forward areas. Just tried to get that wee bit extra spark, because it's important that you've got to encourage that. You've got to encourage the squad. You've got to encourage that motivation to be part of it. And this third game in such a short period gave us the opportunity to do it. I was wanting to get Boschevink on at the end, but Lawrence was feeling his foot a wee bit, so it was nice to get him on as well. I think Lawrence is fine. He's just took a knock on the bridge of the foot. But I thought the subs all got to the pace of the game. I thought the 3 lads that came in, Michael, Blair, and obviously big Landry. Spitz is unlucky not to score. It's a brilliant save from McCracken. And Kabore finishes it so smoothly. It was as if he does this every day. It was just nice and calm, and you can see how much it means to him. So I think the talking point from the day, the takeaway from the game was real professional performance, and we've got another real goal scorer in our books here. You can see that. I thought Kabore's arrived today. Really, he let people know what he's all about, and like him and a few others are starting to build that reputation.
First extent had you been seeing that from him?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's difficult to show, because especially the bigger lads, and somebody like Kabore, he's got to play with aggression. Sometimes you can't always show that in training, because obviously it's training against your teammates and you try to be competitive. And but he's a physical player. I mean, he's a good size, but he's got lovely feet. But the starting point for him is his aggression. He can't just go out and try and show he's a good player. And I think a wee bit he was getting the game the wrong way around at the start when he first came in. He wanted to show the lads he's a good player, which is fine. But what we need him for in Scottish football is to make sure he has that focal point and that kind of physicality to the front line, and then show your skills off the back of that, to be honest. So I think since he came back from his international hat-trick, obviously the first Hearts player to score an international hat-trick, sometimes when I watched his goals back and I think, thank God he's mine, he looks the real deal, and I'm thinking, and maybe sometimes you just need to see him in that game situation, and we've seen wee bits and pieces in bounce games, we've seen wee bits and pieces in training all the time, and his attitude has been great. He's been really supportive like the rest of the lads when the team's winning. He takes as much pleasure in the team winning when he's not involved. So that's why it's really important that for all these boys, particularly Landry today, that we take pleasure in the impact he's had on the team, and he should feel so good about himself. And it's good to know that we've got another goal scorer, because obviously all the front lads have scored now, and we're getting some good numbers from all of them. And as you know, the more options we have, different types of strikers, the better for us.
First genuine marker point of the season, Derek. First round of fixtures.
Yeah.
Could not have asked for any more, surely.
Delighted with it, to be honest. We said at the point at St Mirren would be a brilliant, really good point, important point if we won the day. And that's the way it's been. You know, we've been really smooth. A few weeks ago we set a challenge to the players that can we be above Celtic before we play them, and then can we be above, can we be top of the league after the first round of fixtures. So we've boxed off that little section. Now we need to go again, start the next round. So it's a good reference point for me in the sense that look what can be done, and some difficult fixtures amongst that, different challenges. And I feel as though the squad's getting stronger, not any weaker at the minute. Obviously we're borderline, a couple of suspensions with Halkett and Milne, but we're getting a few back. Frankie will train fully next week, Frankie Kent. Boschevic's is back, champing it a bit. So it feels as though we're getting stronger at a good time.
Now that you've hit that first marker, Derek, do you take time to look back and assess everything, or do you just ride that wave of momentum?
No, I just look forward to Dundee United game now. I think before the next international break, we knew after St Mirren we had 2 home games against the Dundee teams, and my biggest concern about the day was that we had enough energy, but didn't want it to be after the Lord Mayor's show, after the Celtic game here, and we really needed to work hard to get that kind of enthusiasm into the game and that energy, and the players brought that. They deserve a lot of credit for that. The quality of goals helped. I think the fans enjoyed a lot of the game. So I think, like every day, I think the supporters can reflect and enjoy the period that we're in at the minute, but I think everybody's thinking, right, what's next? A wee bit more. Can we get a wee bit more from it? And that's where we are. So it's only November, but it's nice nonetheless to be top of the league in November.
Do you think the resultant performance like today that might have teams second guessing coming in and playing so defensively?
No, I can understand. Everybody's got to look after their own in whatever way they want to do it. Dundee play a system that allows them to stay in games ordinarily. You know, they've got they play that 5-box-1, and they've got a good counter-attacking threat, particularly Wesley and Congreve and Simon Murray, we know well. So you know, I think when you play that shape, sometimes it is a shape to keep you in the game. We knew that we went 4-4-2 against that, because I quite like 4-4-2 against a box, because it still gives you that width. We wanted Harry to predominantly give it the width on that side, and Spittle to come in and give us the extra body, and Kizzy playing on the other side, which I think he can do, but Spittle was even better off the right side and tucked in off the side to start the second half. He's so unlucky with his shot, and Kizzy plays his natural side. He was a lot happier there. So but I thought Benny and Cammy were excellent. We looked quite calm. We were defending for the majority. I know they've had one off the bar with a deflection and a couple of set plays going in, which but for that side that we stood up to it after the other night, it was pleasing. I thought we looked back to being really solid at set plays again. So good day all round, to be honest. The 3 lads who missed out starting, Braga, Halkett and Kingsley, have all had little wee issues just over the last couple of days, but nothing's significant enough to miss out. I just think in hindsight we're looking at a chance to put a bit of freshness into it. There's no point in me referencing the squad time and time again and then not doing anything about it. So it was good that we managed to get some lads that haven't been playing.
You mentioned the yellow cards. This is the guys on the kind of threshold. Does that come into your thinking in terms of team selection?
No, the likelihood is Halkett and Milne are going to get suspended before that cusp. So it's just what game. You know, I took Milne off today just because the game was probably won, and there's no need to take the risk. Plus Kingsley was eager to go. So that was a factor today, but wasn't a factor. It won't be a factor going forward. We just need to play the next game in front of us, and the likelihood is, in the 1st of November, if you've already picked up 5 yellow cards, the likelihood is you're going to get a 6th one somewhere down the line.
Just on Adju, how big a disappointment was that?
Gutted for him. The boy was such a bad place yesterday. Thankfully the club reacted quickly. We got him a quick scan at 1 o'clock. We managed to rush him down there, and we got the news last night. I'd been in touch with him last night ahead of the final results, and trying to be positive, and thankfully he should be fit for Dundee United. He'll be fine. It was just a wee scare, to be honest. It was just a wee bit of fluid when he kind of took a bit of an impact. But he's telling me today 100% he'll be fit for Dundee United. So he's, you know, on the back of his last injury. I'm just glad it was his other hamstring, because if it had been the same one, then you would start to worry. But I was pretty confident it was nothing significant, and thankfully that is the case.